Hi, I'm Sammi. Welcome to my kitchen. Living in New York with rent to pay and little time to cook elaborate meals, I can't afford to let leftovers go to waste. So I'm going to show you how to make the most out of everything you already have in your kitchen and show you how exciting everyday ingredients can be. We're going to cook a meal and then reimagine that meal so you use everything you buy. Let me show you how easily you can make everyday gourmet. So today we're gonna make one of my favorite meals. We're gonna do a skirt steak with herb roasted potatoes and lemon Parmesan asparagus. Sounds really fancy, it's so easy. I have some skirt steak here. It's usually a little bit tougher, so people kind of want to steer away from it. Don't. It's delicious, it's juicy, it's one of the most underrated cuts of steak. We're just gonna season it really generously, but really simply, just salt and pepper. I'm using a kosher salt because I like the texture of it, but see, I'm actually like using salt. People are scared of salt, and then you wonder why you go out to a restaurant and the food tastes better at a restaurant than it does at your house because you're probably not using enough salt. It's really that easy. And this is fresh ground pepper. I cracked it ahead of time just to make my life a little bit easier. I don't use the pre-ground stuff. It loses all of its flavor. I want a little bit of kick from the black pepper. See, all of that fat marbling, that's what you want to look for in a skirt steak. That's going to tenderize the steak while it cooks. Fat means flavor. It's not scary. It's delicious. Cool. I want the meat to relax and come up to closer to a room temperature because when it hits a hot pan, if it's too cold, it's going to just contract and it's not going to let the pan really do its thing. And you want the meat to just relax and have a good time so you get that sear and caramelization. So I'm going to leave it back here. We're going to move on to potatoes. With the steak, I'm gonna do a salsa verde because the steak is really rich and fatty and juicy and delicious. So I want something to be fresh and bright and acidic. So I've got all of these herbs, a little bit of lemon, some garlic. And since I have it all and it's just gonna go bad in my fridge, I'm gonna put it on the potatoes because why not? I'm using Red Bliss potatoes because they're a little bit firmer. It's a waxy potato, so the skin's gonna be waxy, not kind of furry like a russet potato is. I like them for roasting because they're a little bit firmer in texture. You can use a russet potato. They get a little bit crumbly, so I prefer those for baked potatoes or French fries even, duh. But if that's all you have, use it. I'm gonna season them with salt and pepper. And then I've already chopped some herbs. Chive, thyme, parsley, lemon zest, and a little bit of mint. The lemon and the thyme are really citrusy. The chive is gonna give it a little bit of oniony flavor, really fresh and bright and delicious. If you don't like one of those, you don't have to use them. I just think this is a great way to use herbs that are just gonna sit in my fridge. So I'm gonna coat everything in a little bit of olive oil, or a lot of olive oil. So I always keep two kinds of olive oil in my house. I keep one for cooking and one for eating raw and using in salad dressings. If you don't want to be that fussy about your olive oil, don't worry about it. Any extra virgin olive oil is going to be just fine to use raw. And then I'm just going to put it on a sheet tray and it's just going to bake at 350 for 35 to 40 minutes. Now, if you didn't want to dirty another bowl, you can just totally do all of what I just did on the sheet tray itself. I just like a bowl. You do you. So I want to make sure they're all like an even layer. Yeah, whatever, what am I doing? Just touch your food. So it's all gonna be one even layer. You don't wanna have potatoes piling up on each other because then they're gonna steam and they're not gonna be crispy and delicious, and you want them crispy and delicious. So while the potatoes are in the oven, we're gonna work on the salsa verde. So I've got all of these beautiful herbs and I'm just gonna chop up, put into a bowl with a little bit of lemon juice, olive oil, garlic, jalapeno. Really, really easy. It just takes a lot of chopping. So let's get started. So I just bunched up all of the parsley in kind of a little ball, and it's firmer to chop it. Keeping my fingers out of the way, of course. You want to find woodier thyme, ones with a firmer stem, because what you don't want to eat the stem. You're gonna hold it at the top and then just peel down, and then you've got the lovely thyme leaves and this woody stem goes into the garbage. So I'm gonna take the mint leaves and just layer them like this on top of each other. You do this with basil as well. And then I'm gonna roll it. And then just go right down like that. Little ribbons of mint. So with the chives, I'm just gonna cut them in half and then line them all up like that. It's just a shorter distance to go, so I cut them in half. You do whatever you want. And then just like really, really tiny. As small as you want. If you don't want them so small, you don't trust yourself with a knife like that, do you? Jalapeno. Okay, so for the jalapeno, I'm not gonna put a lot in, and we're not gonna put the seeds in because those are gonna be super hot. But I'm also going to just taste it. And this is a spicy guy, so we're gonna use even less. I'm gonna take the pith and the seeds out of the jalapeno because that's where all the heat is. And I don't want it to be too spicy. I just want it to have a little bit of kick. So cut it like down like that, and then I'm just gonna take my knife very carefully. Cut it out like that, and then we get rid of it. Bye-bye. So I'm just gonna brunoise, if you will. This is a little like 1/8 of an inch dice. If you get some seeds in there, who cares? And that's it. I love garlic. I love a lot of garlic. You don't have to love garlic as much as I do. The easiest way to peel garlic is to do just that. You just smash it. Careful with your fingers. Heel your hand on your knife on a stable surface. This is one of my favorite things to do with garlic. I'm gonna make a paste out of it. So I'm gonna smash it again. And then I'm gonna add a little bit of salt. So what the salt's gonna do, it's gonna break down the enzymes of the garlic and it's gonna become a paste. It's kind of gonna disappear, watch. You take the side of your knife, you just kind of chop it a little bit. And then you can just, so this is gonna kind of mellow out the garlic because garlic obviously can be very, very strong. And I'm probably only gonna use about that much. If you want more garlic, go for it. But that's all I want. And it's gonna emulsify really, really nicely in the salsa verde. So then we're gonna do a little bit of shallot because I like the oniony flavor. Just a tiny bit. You don't have to. You don't want to. I'm using a shallot instead of an onion because shallot's a lot more mild. I'm gonna use it in another dish later just because it's what I have. And I'm gonna use what I have instead of worrying about having an onion. So I'm just slicing down. I kept the root of the shallot on as kind of a base, and I just sliced towards it, but not all the way through because I want to keep it all together. And then very carefully, I'm gonna cut this way towards it. If you don't feel comfortable doing this, don't do it. I thought it was really cool, so I figured out how to do it, and I never cut myself. You're welcome, Dad. Always very careful. So then I'm just gonna really, really, really finely mince it. Because again, I don't want like huge bites of shallot in here. I just want a little bit. There we go, that's better. See? Now we need a little bit of acid. So I'm gonna use lemon. Why? Because lemon is the best. I use lemon all the time, all the time. And one of my favorite kitchen tools is my microplane. So it's basically just a small grater. It just makes my life so much easier. If you don't have a microplane, don't worry about it. It's only for the zest. I've grated garlic on it before, grated nutmeg, grated anything that just needs to be really, really fine. But if you don't have a microplane, you can just kind of cut really, really thinly the zest off the lemon. You wanna make sure you get all of this white stuff off because that's bitter and gross. And you don't want that ever. You just want bright citrusy. So then you can just like slice this really, really thin and put that in really, really thin like that. But I have a microplane and I'm gonna use it. So now I'm gonna juice it because we need a little bit of acid in the form of juice. So I'm gonna roll it to kind of break up the inside of the lemon. Salt and pepper. So this is my higher quality olive oil. It's better used raw for salad dressings. It's got a like nice fruity flavor. You kind of want it to have the consistency of whatever you want. I'm going for more of a salad dressing. There. So salsa verde is made, steaks hanging out, potatoes in the oven. I'm ready for a cocktail before we get to anything else. So I was fortunate enough to work at one of the best restaurants in the world, which has one of the best cocktail programs in the world, and I fell in love with craft cocktails, but also figured out that they're not that hard to make on your own. So I'm gonna make a whiskey smash. A smash is anything that has spirit, sugar, seasonal fruit, and herb. So it's close to a sour, but we're gonna add an herb in there. And since we've got mint and lemon from the Salsa Verde, I'm gonna use those. So I'm gonna use the whole lemon because juicing a lemon just takes forever. So I'm gonna take my muddler and just kind of give the lemon a little head start because shaking it with the ice isn't gonna do enough to break down the whole lemon. Get my frustration out on this lemon. So I want the whole lemon because I wanna get some of that zest in there. A little bit of the oils is gonna go a long way. So then a little bit of mint, like a handful or so of mint. Just right in there. 3/4 of an ounce of demerara syrup, which is just unrefined, like turbinado sugar, any of that raw sugar, that's this, in a 1-to-1 ratio with water. Simmer it until it thickens slightly, and you're good. So I'm using bourbon. I love bourbon, it's sweet. You can use rye if you prefer rye, it's gonna have a little bit more spiciness to it, but I think that something that goes really nicely with the sweetness of the bourbon is sweet vermouth. So I'm gonna use less bourbon and a little sweet vermouth, so about an ounce of, or more of sweet vermouth. And then an 1.5 ounces of bourbon. Your favorite bourbon. And all spirits, everything has a different flavor. So test it out. If these amounts don't work for your favorite bourbon, use what works for your favorite bourbon. You just have a couple more drinks on your hands. So then a couple cubes of ice, not too much. It's a rocks drink. We're gonna serve it on the rocks, so we're not gonna shake it that much. Awesome. I'm just gonna do we call it a dirty dump. I'm just gonna pour what's in here. I'm not gonna strain it because it looks that much prettier. You've got a little bit of the mint, you see the lemon in there, the ice is gonna do a little bit more work. Just so good. Yep, it's delicious. It's citrusy, it's herbaceous, it's refreshing, and now I'm hungry. So let's move on to asparagus. I am gonna do a Parmesan lemon asparagus. It sounds fancy, it's super easy. Asparagus, really simple, clean it, snap it. You just wanna snap it where it breaks naturally because the part that's snapped off is woody and fibrous. You don't wanna eat that. All of the rest of these are pretty much snapped. So on a sheet tray, a little bit of olive oil, salt and pepper. So now I just have grated Parmesan cheese. I keep this in my fridge because I add it to so many things. I use it for binding stuff, for this, and it's cheese. And I needed cheese in this dish because I love cheese. More cheese. So then I'm going to take my trusty microplane and the other half of the lemon that I didn't use for a cocktail, we can use now. So a little bit of lemon zest, and then a little bit of lemon juice. And then it can go in the same 350-degree oven, and it's gonna cook for about 10 to 15 minutes, which is just enough time for us to rest our meat. So we're gonna go cook our meat, and then while that's resting, pop this in the oven, and then we're set. So let's cook some steak. Medium high to high heat. I'm gonna use bacon fat because it's gonna be that much more flavorful. Bacon fat has a very high smoke point, meaning it won't smoke until it's very, very hot. You wanna hear it like this. If you don't hear that sizzle, your pan's too cold, take it out, you're not gonna get a sear. I'm searing it in a really, really hot pan so that I can seal in all of the juices first because I don't wanna cook the inside. I'm only gonna cook it to like a rare to medium rare because that's how I like my steak. So the hotter the pan is, the less the inside's gonna cook, the more the outside's gonna caramelize, and that's what you want. And then we're gonna let it rest. Once it starts to kind of sweat a little bit, you see the juices kind of rise in the meat, you're probably there. Oh yeah, see that? Look at that color. That's what you want. All right, this guy. Oh yeah, there we go. See all of that awesome caramelization? That's what you're looking for. Golden brown is your favorite color. So it's not gonna take too long, maybe 2-3 minutes per side. So this I'm gonna take out because it's definitely done. Ooh, look at that. Ah. You can sing in your kitchen, it's your kitchen, do your thing. One of the biggest mistakes that people make when they're cooking meat is they don't let it rest. We're gonna let it rest. It needs to calm down. All of the juices are very excited. They're close to the edge of the meat. And if you cut into it right now, they're all gonna bleed out and then your meat is gonna be dry. So you need to leave it alone, which is why I saved this part until now, because we can't eat without asparagus. So we're gonna cook the asparagus, and in that time, the steak is gonna be well rested, and then we can eat. Nice and pink. It's so good. The steak is juicy, it's like fatty, but the salsa verde cuts right through it with the herbs. Crispy potatoes. I have a few ideas for how to reimagine this dish, so let me show you those. So we've got some herbs left over from that salsa verde. I'm gonna make a compound butter. It sounds fancy. Again, all of these things sound so fancy, they are so easy. So what I've done is I've already chopped up some of the parsley, chives, mint, thyme, and I have a stick of room temperature butter. You just mash it all together. It's really, really easy. There's also a little bit of lemon zest in here because we have it and we use it, and lemon zest is our friend. Done. So now I'm gonna take it and put it on a piece of plastic wrap. I'm gonna roll it up like a log, like a Tootsie Roll. And twist the ends. I'm gonna pop this in the fridge to cool it down, and it'll turn out something like this. One of my favorite things to do with compound butter, you can do so many things. You can put it on a piece of steak like we just did instead of a salsa verde. But one of my favorite things to do is use it for breakfast. So we're gonna make a potato and asparagus hash with a little bit of bacon, some of the steak we used. This is just gonna be dinner as breakfast, but different. I want bacon in it, but I also wanna use the bacon fat. So once it renders down a little bit and I have some fat to work with, I'm gonna put in some shallots, some garlic, and then the potatoes, so just warm them up. And then at the very end, I'm gonna add the asparagus and the steak just to warm them up because they're already cooked. Super simple. All right, so it's browning up just a little bit. And with the same shallots we used for the salsa verde, right in there. I'm gonna add a little bit of spicy stuff, just a little bit. And this is gonna go really fast from here on out. So we're gonna get those potatoes and the garlic in at the same time. Otherwise, we're gonna burn the bacon. Asparagus. And then the steak. Look at that. Steak for breakfast. Who knew? So with any good hash, you need eggs. Let's be real. I'm going to use my compound butter to make some scrambled eggs. So you use butter for scrambled eggs anyway, right? Now there are herbs in your butter. So this is how I grew up scrambling eggs. You crack it right into the pan. Why dirty another bowl and whip it outside? I mean, they get a little fluffier, but this way you get a little bit of the white, a little bit of the yolk, and it reminds me of my dad. So, and my dad always cooks with 2 forks. So I always scramble my eggs with a fork, and then you just eat with it. Again, dishes. I hate doing dishes. All of the ingredients we used to make dinner last night, we used to make breakfast this morning with the addition of some eggs. Perfect. So now I've got another great idea for dinner. We're gonna turn that steak dish into a pasta dish with some shrimp. So eating the same thing 5 days in a row can get really boring. So I'm here to change it up. Let's reimagine that steak as shrimp. So what I've done is I've taken frozen shrimp. So I have frozen shrimp, frozen calamari in my freezer most of the time because when I get home after a long day of work and I forgot to go to the grocery store, I have protein in my freezer. It's brilliant. It thaws out in 5 minutes under running water. And I have Salsa Verde. Using that as a marinade, brilliant. You've got herbs in here, you've got lemon. Still have leftover asparagus. So I'm gonna chop that up. We're gonna put that in too. And I always have dried pasta in my house because that's super easy again. Literally anything can become a pasta dish. So let me show you how to do it. Shrimp and linguine is kind of classic. It's delicious. There's already olive oil in the salsa verde, so we don't really need to add any more to the pan. It's gonna act as our fat source anyway. We're just gonna sear these really, really fast. Just give them a little color. See, there's the sound. That's what you wanna hear. Boom. They stick, add a little more oil, but they're covered in oil, so you should be fine. And this pan's pretty hot, like medium high heat. Because shrimp can overcook super fast and then they get dry and rubbery and gross, and that's not delicious. So we're looking for delicious. A lot of people are scared to cook fish. It just takes a really hot pan and patience, which I've only developed patience in the kitchen. I have no patience anywhere else, especially on the streets of New York. Get out of my way, you're walking too slowly. You don't want them to be totally opaque before we're finished because then they're overdone. So I'm actually gonna take some of these out now. Shallots, we have them, we're gonna use them. Just saute them, little chili flakes. Spicy shrimp is yummy shrimp. A little more olive oil. A little bit of garlic. So we're gonna just brown this a little bit. The garlic's, I chopped it pretty finely, so it's got a tendency to burn, so you wanna be careful. White wine. You always wanna cook with something that you like to drink. This is a muscadet. It goes really well with seafood because it's from like a brinier salt water region, so it's gonna have a really nice complement to the shrimp. It's also gonna add a little bit of acidity. We're gonna deglaze the pan. So scrape up all this stuff that's stuck to the bottom. I'm scraping up because that's all flavor. And we want that. So don't be afraid if something sticks. Use liquid to get it off. I usually like chicken stock or wine, something with flavor, because you always want to add more flavor. So we're going to add a little bit of lemon, the lemon juice. Asparagus back in. I'm just going to steam that slightly. Now I didn't want to add this before I added the wine because the asparagus has a tendency to turn like brown and get overcooked and mushy, and I don't want that. I just want it to be nice and light and crunchy. Season the asparagus, a little salt and pepper. You can use whatever vegetables you have. You can use green beans, you can use broccoli even, you could do tomatoes in this. I really just use any veggie that I have. I cut it up and make a pasta dish. So with the pasta, I'm looking for it to be al dente, which just means with like a bite to it. I actually want it just slightly under al dente because we're gonna marry it with the sauce. So this is like the best thing I ever learned about pasta. You want to cook the pasta in a little bit of the sauce. This is called marrying the pasta. A lot of people will rinse the pasta, drain all of the water off, and then put the pasta sauce on top of the pasta when it's already on the plate. And then all of the sauce just falls off. You want the pasta to absorb the sauce. So we're going to cook it in the sauce a little bit, and we're going to let the flavors absorb into the pasta, and that's going to cook it for the rest of the time so that you get it to that perfect al dente when it's on the plate. Okay, so we're gonna go right from the pasta water. Butter. This butter's yummy. A little bit of butter and a little bit of cream cheese. So this is gonna make it slightly creamy. So if I let this cream cheese just melt in here, it's gonna be a little bit clunky. So in order to make that a little bit more silky and smooth, we're gonna take some of the pasta water. So this water has a little bit of starch in it from the pasta, and it's going to help the sauce come together. It's gonna thicken up the olive oil, the wine part of the sauce, and it's going to thin out the cheese part of the sauce and all kind of make it come together in one really nice, cohesive, silky deliciousness. So now we're gonna go back in with the shrimp. Just warm them back up and coat them with a little bit of that cream cheesiness. And if you don't have cream cheese and you have mascarpone, use mascarpone. Up and twirl. Some shrimp and asparagus on top. And a little bit of parsley to garnish, just one that. It's creamy, there's acid, the lemon pops, the parsley on top is great, and the asparagus adds a freshness. Oh, it's so good. We just made 3 full meals out of 1 trip to the grocery store. And there are still so many ways to play around with these same ingredients. Trust yourself and give yourself the freedom to play. Make the food you love, and you'll love the food you make. Don't forget, no matter where you are, who you are, and what you have in your fridge, you can easily make everyday gourmet. See you next time.
We're keeping it simple yet delicious. Reimagining everything we made for you. Easy to cook, easy to do for you.